Once a desolate and inhospitable wasteland, the Sahara Desert has recently seen the arrival of a new hero, Strong Rusty. Rusty, as he was fondly known, was not your average hero. He was a rusty metal statue, standing tall and proud in the midst of the sand dunes. Despite his rough exterior, Rusty was a symbol of hope for the people of the desert. He had traveled far and wide to reach the Sahara, driven by a desire to help those in need. He knew that the harsh conditions of the desert could wreak havoc on equipment and infrastructure, and he was determined to do something about it. Rusty quickly got to work, using his strong metal frame to protect and repair anything that was in need of fixing. He worked tirelessly, never stopping for a break, and soon became a familiar sight to the people of the Sahara. They were amazed by his strength and dedication, and they came to rely on him for all their repair needs. As time passed, Rusty became a beloved member of the desert community. People would gather around him to listen to his tales of adventure and to sing songs in his honor. He had become more than just a hero. He was a friend and a mentor to those he had come to serve. As he went about his work, Rusty met many people who lived in the desert. He heard their stories and learned about their struggles, and he became deeply connected to the desert community. One person in particular caught his eye, a young girl named Sahara, who lived with her family in a small village near the dunes. Sahara was unlike anyone Rusty had ever met. She was fierce and determined, with a love for life that shone brighter than the sun. She was also incredibly kind and caring, always willing to lend a hand to those in need. Rusty found himself drawn to her, and he soon realized that he had fallen in love with the desert girl. As time went on, Rusty and Sahara grew closer. They would spend long days together, exploring the dunes and talking about their dreams and hopes for the future. Rusty was amazed by Sahara's strength and spirit, and he felt a sense of happiness that he had never known before. However, their happiness was not meant to last. One day, a powerful sandstorm swept across the desert, causing widespread damage to the infrastructure and equipment. Rusty worked tirelessly to repair the damage, but he soon realized that the storm had taken its toll on Sahara's village. Homes and buildings were destroyed, and the people were left homeless and in need of help. Rusty sprang into action, using his strength to clear the rubble and rebuild the homes. Sahara helped too, using her knowledge of the desert to gather supplies and provide comfort to those who were struggling. Together, they worked tirelessly, and before long, the village was restored to its former glory. In the aftermath of the storm, Rusty and Sahara's love only grew stronger. They knew that they had been brought together for a reason, and that their love was meant to be. And so, Strong Rusty and the Desert Girl became partners in life and love, bringing hope and happiness to the people of the Sahara. Their story is one of love and courage, of two people who found each other in the most unexpected of places. It is a reminder that heroes can come from anywhere, and that love can bloom in even the harshest of environments. And it is a story that will be told for generations to come, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps and to make a difference in the world. Strong Rusty and the Desert Girl, Sahara, had fallen deeply in love and had become the hope and light of the Sahara Desert. However, one day, Rusty received word that his mission in the desert was complete, and that he was needed back at home. The news was bittersweet, as Rusty knew that he would have to say goodbye to the love of his life and leave behind the friends he had made in the desert. Rusty was torn, but he knew that he had to complete his mission and return home. He decided to leave in secret, not wanting to cause any distress to Sahara or the people of the village. He worked through the night, making preparations for his journey, and before dawn broke, he set off on his journey back home. Sahara was heartbroken when she awoke to find that Rusty was gone. She searched for him, but he was nowhere to be found. The news of his departure spread quickly, and soon the entire village was in mourning. People who had once smiled now wore long faces, and the once bustling village was now quiet and still. Rusty's journey was not an easy one. The harsh conditions of the desert tested him at every turn, but he remained steadfast and determined to reach his goal. He was driven by his love for Sahara, and he knew that he had to return home to complete his mission. Eventually, Rusty reached his home, and he was greeted with open arms by his friends and family. He was hailed as a hero, and his bravery and determination in the face of adversity was celebrated. However, Rusty's heart was heavy as he missed Sahara in the desert community. He knew that he could never forget the love of his life, and he felt a longing to return to the Sahara. And so, Rusty made the decision to return to the desert and to be with Sahara once again. He set off on a new journey, this time with the determination to be reunited with the love of his life. When he finally returned to the desert, he was greeted by Sahara and the villagers with open arms. They had never forgotten their hero, and they were overjoyed to see him once again. The local desert men were causing trouble for the peaceful inhabitants of the desert, and were determined to stop Rusty from completing his mission. Rusty was a brave and determined man, but he was no match for the desert men. They were a fierce and powerful group, and they had the support of many others in the desert. Despite this, Rusty refused to give up. He knew that he had to complete his mission, and he was determined to find a way to defeat the desert men. One day, Rusty was ambushed by the desert men while he was out on a mission. He was outnumbered and outmatched, but he refused to give up. With his determination and bravery, Rusty fought the desert men, striking fear into their hearts. He was able to defeat them and prove to the people of the desert that he was a force to be reckoned with. With the desert men defeated, Rusty was finally able to complete his mission in the Sahara. He had proven himself to be a true hero, and the people of the desert respected and admired him. However, despite his success, Rusty felt that it was time for him to return home. He had accomplished his mission, and he was eager to see his family and friends again. And so, Rusty set off on his journey back home. His journey was long and hard, but he was filled with the satisfaction of knowing that he had accomplished his mission and had made a positive impact on the people of the Sahara. When he finally returned home, he was greeted with open arms by his friends and family. They were overjoyed to see him, and they celebrated his bravery and determination in the face of adversity. Rusty's story of courage and bravery in the Sahara Desert inspired many others. People spoke of his fight against the desert men and his unwavering determination to complete his mission. His story became a legend, and he was remembered for generations as the hero of the Sahara. In the end, Rusty was able to return home, where he lived out the rest of his days in peace and happiness, surrounded by the love of his family and friends. He had accomplished his mission, and he had left a lasting impact on the people of the Sahara. Strong Rusty would forever be remembered as a hero and an inspiration to all.